Liverpool has Leeds up next in the Premier League, and what could have been a tricky week for Arne Slot, a positive result here might just have him in this job for a longer period of time. So, welcome to the Marching Reds. I am Amit Chima, and here I am to preview the game between Leeds United and Liverpool to be played at Ellen Road this weekend. So, let's start right away. Drawing at Anfield is not a perfect result for Liverpool. Let me get this out in the open straight away. But if you compare our last two games versus what we've been used to playing, had that deflection not gone in from Sunderland, and of course we scored from a deflection too, maybe the results would have been two victories in two. But over the last two games, we've looked a little bit better. Yes, we've not reached our potential level or like on what standards that we've set for ourselves, but definitely you could see a few positive changes, a few positive, impactful performances coming out of certain players. So that is where we should be getting our confidence from and heading towards this game because, mind you, Leeds United, although they were the promoted team from the championship last season, but looking at their last few results, like beating Chelsea at home 3-1, great performance by Leeds and giving a run for their money, literally. They narrowly lost out to Manchester City 3-2 at Etihad. So definitely they've been looking really, really good. And if we have to win, we have to be defensively assured because they would be ready to hurt us. And whether it's their long ball tactic, whether it's their change in formation from a 3-5-2 to a 5-3-2 sort of a formation, you know that the crowd will be right up there to support the team. Looking at the squad right now, I just think that Connor Bradley would be fit for this game because, as per Arne Slot's recent update, he's the guy who has been training throughout the week amongst those who have been injured. So Frimpong remains injured and he should be able to start at least on the bench for Liverpool. So that would be a positive change because even in the last game, although Joe Gomez started, but Curtis Jones replaced him in that right back position. But the fact that in this game, if Connor Bradley is deemed fit, he would be able to take up that spot, whether right from the first whistle or from the bench. So that is a positive news. For me, the playing 11 would still, although many people would have their own permutation combinations, but for me, it would still be on the similar lines to what we saw in the last two games because we've looked good, we've looked better. Although we could have done a lot more better, I said the same line with like two completely different meanings. But all I'm trying to come at is we could have been a lot more better in some situations, in some specific moments. But overall, you could see that in terms of performance and in terms of getting the control back, we have been better. So starting in goal has to be Allison, no doubts over it. I would start with Joe Gomez again in the hope of getting more minutes in his legs and sort of being replaced, hopefully, by Conor Bradley later in the game. Then in the centre back positions, you know it, I know it, Van Dijk, Konate. In the left back position, I would love to see Milos Kerkez uh, start because even though when Leeds would like to attack and like of course they would be targeting Kerkez's vulnerabilities with the long ball, but I would still rather start him given the fact that he has an upside when he's attacking and he's looked good in the last few games also. So you would expect that he would should be performing well for us. And then of course you've got the option of Robertson to replace him later. In the midfield, McAllister had a really good performance against Sunderland. He looked more defensively present. He was, I mean, he had a really very close chance of scoring the first goal for Liverpool in the first half, like a very similar goal to what he scored against Madrid, like right outside the box. The ball is crossed in, and he's the only guy who gets the header and just narrowly missed the goal. So he had a good performance after all the slack that, like, he's been getting this season. And He sort of deserves it too, but I would not rather be harsh on him. But somehow it does affect the whole team compatibility. So it was really nice to see McAllister being at his best version or closer to that in the Sunderland game. So he starts for me. Gravenberg is there. Again with Gravenberg, I still feel that although we need him in that center defensive midfielder position, but he needs to move the ball quicker if you're facing a low block, because there's no point in taking 15-20 seconds looking at both sides and then deciding to either play back or sideways again. So yeah, he would start, but it would be lovely to see him either do his trademark Gravenberg turn and drive the ball forward and have that incisive pass, or at the least make sure that he moves the ball quicker, because I'm pretty sure Leeds would be mentally prepared to just sit back at moments and like absorb the pressure, and that is where we need to hurt them, because an early goal here, given the fact that the game is going to be played at the boisterous Ellen Road, that would just sort of give the control back in our hands, and then we know like as soon as we get our lead, we have a more comfortable way of playing a football game. So Gravenberg, McAllister, Dominic Soboslai, again the best player of the season so far for us. He has to start. Now the question comes: we've got Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah, Federico Chiesa, and out of these six players, we have to choose three. For me, it would be Florian Wirtz, who would be starting on the left flank, and I would love to see Ekitike and Isak go up top, because that was a tactic that we deployed against Eintracht Frankfurt, and I would love to see either a 4-2-2-2 sort of a formation where like McAllister and Gravenberg are the two defensive midfielders, a double pivot. Soboslai is given a free rightish to central role on the right side. Similarly, on the left side, it would be Florian Wirtz with Kirkes going up and down, and Isak and Ekitike being those two strikers. Of course, you could have a different formation too, where you can either just have a 4-2-3-1 sort of a formation, where like Soboslai takes up the right midfielder position, Florian Wirtz as the number 10, Ekitike on the left flank, and Isak as the number 9. But the reason why I'm not starting Mohamed Salah, and for that matter, Cody Gakpo, and for that matter, Federico Chiesa, is because Cody Gakpo, he looked a little bit too predictable for me. And not saying that he won't play a big part in this game, but the fact that this lineup, according to me, would be much better suited uh, for this game. That is just the reason why I'm going with it. And I just feel that with Milos Kerkez in, although they've been looking very good in the last few games, the relationship between Gakpo and Kerkez, but I just feel with Robertson there, Gakpo Robertson is a much better combo. So just in case if Arne Slot decides that he has to switch up his left flank, those are the two substitutions that I can see him making if he doesn't start Cody Gakpo. Mohamed Salah, I mean, I'll have to admit that we've looked a little bit better when he's not in the side. And I'm not saying because of the quality that he possesses or the fact that he's not wanting to play anymore for the Liverpool team, but it's more about the tactics and the system that Arne Slot has decided to go with. It is just not clicking, and there's no point in wasting a talent and the quality of a player like Mohamed Salah, where the players who are sort of trying to get used to him, the in and around system around Mohamed Salah is just not working. So there is absolutely no point in playing Mohamed Salah until unless you either start Cody Gakpo on the left wing and have Alexander Isak up top, so that there is a little bit of a familiarity, and Dominic Soboslai could also cover his cover Mohamed Salah's defensive responsibilities too, because you cannot have Isak and Salah, those two players right up top when we are defending. So that is what I would go for, and it will be a tricky game, because although we've got a few sweeter victories over there, and if this time around we do get a victory, it would just wrap up almost a near perfect week where we got hopefully 7 points out of 9. And given the fact that we are just 2 points away from the top four, I mean, there should be no other motivation for all the Liverpool players to just have that right mentality, have that right attitude, and go at it from the first whistle. Let's surprise them with our intensity. Let's surprise them with our coordination, with our chemistry, because those are the elements where, like, a lot of questions have been asked from the players and from the manager, and against the manager, if I can say so. So, yeah, I mean, this should be a perfect opportunity for us to start getting the momentum back into our hands and start getting those consistent performances, consistent games, consistent results. Because if we do get a positive result here, it would be 3 games where we would have not lost a game. And this might sound petty, but you have to take wins, even if they're the smallest ones. Because in a tough period like this, you just need to hold on whatever you can hold on to. So this would be my playing 11 score predictions. Just give me a victory. I would be happy with 3 points. Nothing would make my weekend better than just that. And you let me know in the comment section on how you think Liverpool should approach this game. Let me know what your playing 11 would be. Would Mohamed Salah start? Would Cody Gakpo start again? Would Andy Robertson start again 2 games back to back? Would you see a different? Would you like to see a different midfield where, like, McAllister gets rested and Curtis Jones gets to start? Because Curtis Jones does provide that ability to drive the ball forward, and he sort of assisted the assist of the Florian Wirtz goal too against Sunderland. So maybe he has a surprise start in him, and maybe Arne Slot finds this game as the right time to shift or, like, change a few plays in the playing 11. And if you've liked this video, let me know by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I will see you very shortly in the review of this game. Till then, take care.